Hi, I'm Sharon, and I'm here with Greg. I'm currently staying at his hostel. I found it on Airbnb, and I was very interested in learning how he started up this Airbnb and this hostel. Just wanted to learn how he makes money from it, and so yeah.
Sure.
So tell us about yourself.
As Sharon said, my name's Greg. I'm Australian. I've been in Korea now for 14 years. I originally came over here during the World Cup football in 2002. I was just planning to stay for a year or so and have a look around and do some teach some English. But I liked the place, I liked my job, I made some good friends, I kind of stayed around. Then I met my wife and got married. Met the girl who I got married to is now my wife, of course. And so obviously I've kind of been here now for almost a decade and a half, and we'll probably be here for at least the next sort of 5 years. We'll probably head back to Australia in the long run. But yeah, we've just started a new business in the last few years. Yeah.
So I mean, when you move back, are you gonna stay? Are you gonna keep the business? Or?
Quite possibly. We'll have to figure all that out. But we may well keep it running and just get someone else in to keep an eye on things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So when and why did you get the idea to start your hostel, and how did it happen?
I taught English for a number of years at one of the schools over here, and then my wife was working, and we kind of, after a few years, were just looking at other business opportunities, and we lived in this area, and we saw that this place was available, and there was a big boom in this area of guest houses, and we thought that this place looked pretty good. They just recently put in the airport railway line, so it's a kind of easy and convenient place to set up a hostel. So my wife did a fair bit of the organising, and she sort of looked into it, and we decided to give it a go. So as you obviously know, there's the guest house upstairs, and then we've got a little English bar down here.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Are the guest houses targeted to tourists, or is it, I don't know, is it people here? Or?
Tourists. I think technically Koreans are not really meant to stay in these guest houses.
Okay.
The reason, I would imagine, being to avoid people from other parts of the country coming up to Seoul and then finding what would be cheaper accommodation in these places. And if Koreans flooded the market, obviously there's 50 million people in this country who could people from outside of Seoul could take advantage of that, which might then make it more difficult for international travellers to find a place.
Okay.
So they made it that it's only for international travellers, which kind of seems slightly like a bit of a reverse discrimination. But I think it makes sense to make sure that there's places for people who want to come and check Korea out. And as I'm sure you're aware, the tourism industry seems to be booming over here, and there's a lot of travellers coming in from all around the world.
Yeah, I mean, did you have this idea before you just saw, you just walked by this place, or was it?
It was one of those things I actually remember consciously thinking. I'd walked past this place obviously hundreds of times. We used to live just around the corner, and when it obviously never enters your mind that you might end up starting a business there, so I never really particularly noticed it much. And then I remember obviously when we first started looking at it, it's like, oh right, I kind of remember that area. And then we like the architecture, the setup of the place. It's like 2 stories inside with as you obviously know, with the internal staircase, which makes it sort of a nice kind of group house kind of feel. Yeah. And we've got the rooftop as well, which in the warm months are sort of nicer to get up there and have barbecues and hang out and stuff.
Cool. I've never been up there. So. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So what was the process like? So how long did it take?
As I mentioned to you before, my wife did almost all of that, the arrangements. It took a few months, of course. To the best of my knowledge, setting up a business like this back in Australia obviously has a lot of bureaucratic red tape, etc. to set up, as I imagine it is in pretty much most parts of the world. The impression I got is that here in Korea it was a little bit easier and a little bit cheaper than it is back in Australia, and I would guess in America also. And just one thing that I'm aware of is the liquor licensing certificate. Back home it's really expensive, but over here not that much.
Okay.
You may already have figured that because you can buy alcohol everywhere. Convenience stores, side of the road. Whereas back home, there's very strict regulations.
If you wanted to leave and like travel longer term, would you be able to hire a property manager to like manage it? Or?
It's a very good question, and we have travelled obviously a few times. We've had this set up here for a bit over 3 years, closing in on 3.5 years now. And during that time, we've been back to Australia and we've travelled around and done a few things. And we've been able to get friends and or long-term guests to actually help keep an eye on things.
But do you find this would, this company actually provides a full-time income, or like how much?
Well, it does. Obviously you need to factor in, the costs and then the profit margin, etc. And when we obviously what money on it, which means that the profits all just stay with us.
Yeah.
But if we owned the place and got someone else in and then paid them, that'd obviously make the margin fairly tricky.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are some obstacles you may have faced while you're setting up, or was it hard to get people coming in for?
Early on, actually, something we did to start with through Airbnb is the most popular, the sort of main website we use to find people, as you know.
Yeah.
And with any of the hostel, guest house kind of booking sites, you obviously need reviews and ratings, and people want to check. I actually used Couchsurfing, and I was just completely upfront and put a thing on Couchsurfing saying, "Hi, we've just opened a guest house. We need people to come and check it out, and we'd love you to be able to write some reviews for us."
Okay.
And then got people through Couchsurfing to put reviews on some other sites.
Okay.
So I just arranged for them to kind of we arranged the bookings and the payments, and then got them onto the site so they could actually put in some initial reviews.
Okay, that's a good marketing method.
There's no pressure on them to write anything in particular. They wrote whatever they wanted, but it's a good way just to get the ball rolling a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Okay,
Yeah.
I was wondering about that, like how you get those initial reviews.
Yeah.
So what sites besides Airbnb are you listed on?
A few others, there's like Hostel World and Booking.com.
Okay.
And there's a few others, but to be honest with you, they've been providing very little business. A few of the other ones, like Agoda and a few others, to the point where Airbnb has actually started dominating so much that we still have bookings from Hostel World and Bookings.com, but they would be, I'd guess, approximately 1 in 20, 1 in 30, maybe less.
Okay. Wow.
Almost everything's Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
And to the point where Airbnb's almost providing, at the moment we're almost full most of the time.
Wow.
And to be honest with you, I obviously need to, when there's a booking through one of the other sites, I need to obviously get on and adjust the availabilities, etc. Which is not a big hassle, but if a couple of bookings come in within a few hours of each other, or if I haven't had a chance to check, a few times we've ended up being overbooked, and it's caused a few hassles.
You mentioned the first marketing method of like getting those free reviews through Couchsurfing. I was wondering if there are other methods you've tried, like maybe for the cafe or for the hostel in general.
Good question. It's actually helped me. I'm obviously not a millennial, but it's actually, I'm not completely untech savvy. Okay. But I'm not by any means excellent. Yeah. But it's actually helped me doing this. Helped me figure out a few, or at least get onto a few more of the social media platforms. Obviously Facebook's something I've had for a long time, and I use Facebook to advertise stuff down here. But I've also got into Instagram and Tumblr, which I don't use much. But I actually, even through Couchsurfing, and Meetup.com is another one I use to promote events, which are reasonably successful. I think marketing is so much, it's obviously online focused these days. Yeah. We do a bit of offline. Always sounds strange, seems to me like normal. Yeah. But anyway, offline marketing, which is quite literally, we've got a little blackboard with advertising of what's going on in the cafe. The bar.
You mean like outside there's something?
Yeah, I can show it to you. It's just around the corner.
Okay.
And we've got flyers, and occasionally we get people to go and sometimes myself put the blackboard outside, stand around, hand out some flyers just to promote a bit of stuff. Yeah. Which is good, and it actually brings quite a few people in. Obviously, that's location specific because we're right next to the
Yeah,
place, which
yeah.
is handy. Whereas online stuff could be anywhere, whether people are reading it. But through a combination, obviously, I think any wise person trying to get the business up and going would do as much as possible, both online and offline.
Do you feel like it's actually working, like the social media, or which one's working better, like offline or online?
Good point. It depends. The social media stuff, we get quite a few Koreans, but we also get a lot of international travellers, especially through couch surfing events.
Okay.
And that's a bit seasonal. Like obviously in the summer months when there's heaps of people here, then some of the barbecue nights here on Fridays have been completely packed out, like people spilling out onto the street, which is when the online stuff's really going strongly.
Yeah.
But the offline stuff definitely brings in people also.
Oh, okay.
So they both work okay.
Oh, great. Okay. You mentioned couch surfing to market it, not just the free reviews or anything, but like, how are you using that then now?
I was a bit surprised. You can put events on couch surfing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I started using meetup.com, which is also very good, but I've actually found couch surfing gets often more people, definitely more travellers.
Yeah.
Meetup.com gets probably more Koreans.
Okay.
Which is good for my language classes, the English classes I have. But couch surfing seems to get a lot of travellers who are sort of just looking for things to do.
Oh, okay. So it's mainly the events that like it works for.
That's right.
Okay, cool. How long did it take to save for purchasing this property in Korea?
Well, we didn't save up all the money to get it. It's bank loans, etc.
Yeah.
Again, obviously, my wife and I are a little older, and we've been working for whatever it is. So we had some savings and some other stuff. But if you were younger and you're looking to sort of really get started, I think you'd be looking at trying to get sort of 30, 40, 50 grand or something before you're really going to have much chance for banks to start listening to you, I think. Unless you obviously have other assets which you can use as collateral,
And would you recommend like real estate investment or, doing the hostel thing as a route for making money? Or?
Yep, I would. And to separate the things, real estate I think is just, obviously from time to time bubbles burst and things go bad. But traditionally real estate's a pretty safe investment. And you'd obviously want to be a little bit aware of the situation in terms of the sort of housing market. But generally speaking, assets, real estate's a pretty stable asset.
Yeah, I agree.
And in terms of actually getting ahead, people who just stash their money away in the bank and work for years and think that that's a way to make money, but probably being a little naive. You want to start getting your money working for you somehow.
Definitely.
And there are obviously, of course, a range of pretty clear options. Stocks are, of course, an option, which are probably a bit more of a gamble. Real estate's obviously generally considered to be a bit more reliable.
Yeah.
And just in terms of setting people up for their future lives, and you've kind of need a place to live, and you don't want to be paying rent for your whole life.
Yeah.
So I'd actually recommend to everyone, as early as they can.
Yeah, I agree.
And within realistically the first few years of having a job, I think you're probably best advised to start looking into options and try and actually get some assets behind you.
Definitely.
And you read those things. Even I've read a few of the things like things you'd tell your 25-year-old self when you're 45 or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of those things I'd pretty much suggest, it's a bit of a cliche, but it's like get some property if you can, even if you end up, you don't want to tie yourself too much to a massive bank loan if you're planning. I'd highly recommend travelling as well, obviously. But at some stage when you're looking for a bit of stability, I think real estate's a pretty good start.
Definitely. As someone who's like very interested in this route, what would you recommend for a beginner like me?
In terms of setting up a hostel?
Maybe like a hostel, yeah.
Well, to start with, I think, as we kind of touched on a bit before, in terms of setting it up, I think having a strong local connection if you're going to do it overseas. Do it in your own country, of course, much easier. But obviously just making sure you know what's required, what costs, will be incurred. Which was easy for me because I had my wife do it all. the advice, I mean, it's a good way of life, and certainly if you can sort of, you know, as we're talking about, obviously you can live in your own hostel. So if you're looking for an investment property for yourself, actually setting it up as, even if it's a small one, it doesn't have to be like a big guest house. Even if it's allowed, a smaller place where you can live yourself and rent a few rooms out, it's probably not a bad way to sort of get it up and running.
Okay, yeah. I do have a question about, so, like, you know, sometimes there's a lot more vacancy, and I don't know, is it seasonal, or how does that?
Yeah, well, a year ago I would have said yes, it was quite seasonal, because we had times where we weren't as heavily booked as we would have liked to have been. But in the last 6 months we seem to be fairly busy.
Good.
And I think one of the things, to be honest, is obviously myself being a native English speaker, and being in Korea, a lot of the travellers coming here are obviously going to be Chinese or Japanese, the two closest and most populated nations in this area. And we didn't get a particularly high percentage. We had some Japanese and Chinese guests, but more English speakers, lots of Europeans, and obviously people from native English speaking countries. But in the last, probably, at least the last 6 months or so, once we started getting a few travellers from those countries, and they started writing reviews in their native language, I think it then provided a bit more confidence for people seeing those reviews. And these days we have, as I think you know, more travellers from East Asia, which I think's really, I don't know the exact percentages, but there are far more people travelling here from nearby East Asian nations than the rest of the world combined, I'd imagine.
Okay. Oh, one thing I noticed, I feel like it probably helps you get reviews a lot. Like, it seems like you're so nice to all the guests, and
you don't have to say that. You can
but I really feel that way. I actually went out with like your wife one time. It was so fun. I don't know. You guys are just super nice. So thank you for that.
No worries. She, well, I also like drinking with guests, but maybe not quite as much as she does.
So, do you have further goals with the business? I mean, now that you're saying business is booming, like you're getting almost overbooked, like are you planning to expand into other areas of Korea, or are you going
we could, not other countries at this stage.
Okay.
I've got a few ideas with my brother back in Australia to set up some stuff down there, and maybe get sort of travellers from Korea and other places to go down there for sort of guest stay, and maybe even set up a kind of like a study abroad sort of scheme to get people to sort of go and work and study and set a few things up. So I mean, that would be the international connection with family back home. No immediate plans to expand in Korea. I mean, we're obviously just our own sort of, we run it ourselves. No franchising or anything at this stage.
Okay, cool. And any last words? Wish people obviously all the best, and I actually love the fact I honestly am inspired, and just again being from the age group sort of a bit older than, I keep saying millennials, I'm clearly not, but being at the sort of being aware of all the new technology, but not having really grown up entrenched with it all. I just love the fact, it doesn't surprise me as much as it used to, but seeing people with the options to just live and travel while working. Obviously there's so many sort of online working opportunities. And to be honest, it kind of strikes me as wonderful. Everyone wants to travel. And it's hard to just keep travelling permanently unless you've got some money. And if you can just make money wherever you are, and the idea of just opening up your laptop wherever you happen to be and working, it's just brilliant. And the sort of perhaps cliched image I get when I think of this is like being on a beach in Fiji or whatever, the Philippines or something, and just waking up in a lovely little hut and looking out over the ocean and just doing a few hours work. Might be a little bit hard to motivate yourself to work that much, but just having that option I think is just brilliant. Well, great. Thanks for doing this interview, and it actually helped me a lot. I learned a lot of things from it, so thanks so much, Greg.
No problem at all.
Great.
Cheers.